Fixing my Toyota Tundra Shifter with shrink tubing. Well, good morning everybody, and welcome back to Rob Motive FST. That's right, I'm gonna fix, well, make better, my Toyota Tundra Shifter with a little bit of shrink tubing. Now, what I'm talking about, let's take a quick look inside. I had put a different shift knob on, still up in the air about that myself. It's actually sitting right up there, and it looked kind of funky on the shift rod, kind of like one of those Tootsie Roll pops, you know, kind of sat up there like that, just kind of looked a little funky, and primarily because of this long chrome shift rod. So I was thinking, you know, I could put something down to cover up the shift rod, if you will, kind of black it out a bit, maybe make it even blend in so that the shift ball itself kind of looks like it's floating in there. I don't know. We're going to see if I get that effect or not. One thing I do want to note, I did put the grid on the top. I had the grid put on. I did that because I was going to put a boot over the top of this. That mod was a big fail. That didn't work out so well. So I have the grid on the top, which I think is cool anyway. I think it's pretty neat. It matches what's down here. But the plan is to go ahead and put some shrink tubing on here, shrink it down. Of course, it's going to turn it black because the shift or the tubing itself is, of course, black. And I have enough that I can screw it up a million times, and I should be able to get it right one time or another. Using the tubing, there's a couple reasons I'm doing that. One, it's black, and two, I can cut it off if I don't like it. It's not adhered to it. It's not like I'm painting it or anything. So I can just slice right down the tubing itself and pull it right off if I don't like it. Or down the road if I decide to sell the truck and put the original shift knob back on. So we're going to go ahead, get set up inside. One other thing I want to mention, you know, I'm not going to use a heat gun in there because there's a lot of plastic stuff around. So I'm going to use a hair dryer, and I just hope it gets hot enough to actually melt this tubing. We're going to see what kind of quality this is. It shouldn't take much. And to be honest, the diameter of it, and it's actually a different size. I bought two. This one doesn't fit. But the diameter of the one I am going to use is pretty close to the shift knob itself, or the shift rod. So there's not a whole lot to shrink down. So it should work out okay. We're going to find out. Got my tubing all cut. Hopefully it's the right length. Needs to go to just about right here to avoid being screwed into, if you will. So it is snug. And one thing I noticed, the rod itself actually gets wider down here at the bottom, so it's got to accommodate that as well. So let's see, first of all, if we can just slip it on there. Probably a two-hand job. Yeah, I think I'm going to be able to get it on, and I like that it's snug because that means I don't have to shrink it down too much. So let me go ahead. I need to use two hands to get this on. I'll get it situated, and then we'll hit it with some heat from the hairdryer. Okay, I've got it on there where I want it, I think. So now let's see if my hairdryer is strong enough to shrink it down. I hope so. Here we go. Okay, we have shrunk it as much as it's going to shrink, I think. It does move. It's not tight on there, which I don't know if that's a big deal. I mean, it's going to be floating, if you will, sort of on there anyway. So I don't know that that really matters. As long as it stays put, and I think it is snug enough for that to happen. Doesn't seem to want to pull off, so that's good. And I think once I have the knob back on the top, it'll blend in nicely. So, and it gives me a little bit thicker stance, if you will, on the shift rod itself, which isn't bad either. Because it's kind of skinny the way that it is. So I'm going to let this cool off a bit before I screw my shift knob back on, because it's rather warm. So we'll let that happen, and then I'm going to go ahead and put it back on and see what it looks like. Stay tuned. Okay, full disclosure, I did take the original one off because it wasn't tight enough. It just wasn't shrinking enough. So I did a little bit of experimenting with a heat gun, and this does shrink really well with enough heat. So I brought it back out here, shrunk it as much as I could with the hairdryer, which wasn't much, and then hit the top part here with the heat gun. Keep it away from all the plastics because those things get really hot. But I did shrink it down, so now it doesn't move. It's firm on there, and even gives me a little wider stance as I go down. So I think it looks pretty good. I think it came out well, and my main concern in doing that was just to tighten it up here around the top so it wouldn't fall down, if you will, and scrape against the little grid work down here. So let's go ahead. I haven't seen it myself. Let's put the shift knob back on. Nice and smooth. Hopefully I don't hit my tubing. That's the goal. There we go. Got it on, and it doesn't hit. Not sure what I think about it. Let's see. How much room? I do have a little space. If I can go tighter. Yeah, not really. I'd have to put a nut or something in there, I think, to go any tighter. So I think that's pretty good. It seemed to ride pretty good that way. It's snug, but it's not really cranked down on there. So that's what it looks like. Just to kind of get rid of the chrome a little bit. Again, if I don't like this, I just slice it, take it right off. It's not glued on there or anything, so it should be fine. I think as far as the shifting goes, we'll be okay. It's not such a big diameter that it's going to hit the gate here anywhere, and like I said, it's up off of this little piece that it would ride across on top, so we're not slamming into that because the rod does ride across this piece. So I think we're good. Still have some heat on the rod itself. I can feel it in there, but that's okay. Ideally, I would have shrunk the whole thing down snug up against the rod, but you can't get this shifter, this piece off here, whatever you call it, that the rod goes down into. I suppose you could if you really wanted to tear into this, but I didn't want it to turn into a 3-day mod. So that's what I've got so far. That's what it looks like. Again, just a way to black out that long chrome piece a little bit. And I think even if I did put the original back on, I still would employ the same thing, I think, down here at the bottom where you can see the chrome, just to get rid of the chrome a little bit. Just a neat little way to make it a little darker in here, I think. Anyway, that is that's the finished product. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of it. I know there's a lot of people out there that think it looks like a big sucker on there. And I don't disagree. It kind of does, but I kind of dig the different knob anyway. Something a little different from the typical shift knob that you put on, either what came with it or the TRD version. I just wanted something a little bit more unique, if you will. Anyway, let me know what you think. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Rob Motive, all about my new 2021, sitting right over there, Toyota Tacoma. And Rob Motive JT, all about my 2020 Jeep Gladiator. Check them out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.